we're looking at the pay scale one time and everything else, and I believe the number is 186. That 365 days, we work about 186. Now, of course, you keep all that in mind because less days, less paid, less everything else. You don't get paid in the summertime, but I do so greatly appreciate these 3 day weekends, as well as just in general the vacation that we get off. It's what I wanted. That's what I wanted as a young man. As a young man, I remember I always wanted a family and to be that dad and that husband and to have time with the kids, and this job definitely provides that. I mean, there's not many jobs out there where you have the same time off as your kids have off, and so it really allowed me time to be the father that I always wanted to be. So definitely grateful for that job. But here we are. It's a Tuesday, going back to the classroom on the drive there, and I thought I'd just take you with me and let's see what we can talk about here. It's the second semester. So this is the second week into the second semester. And I remember in my early years, when teaching was extremely hard for me. And I'm not even sure where you are at in your teaching career and how it's going for you. But those early years of teaching were so extremely hard for me. And I remember coming back from Christmas break, and I was excited. I was nervous. I had all sorts of ideas of things I wanted to do differently. And that is another great thing about teaching is we always get second chances and third chances and so forth. What I mean by second chances is that we can start the first of the year. We got the first couple of months up until Christmas break. And then when you come back from Christmas break, you can kind of do a reset if you want. It's like a second chance. You learn what worked, what didn't work that first semester, and you can make changes second semester. It's like a natural break in there, which is perfect for trying to do a reset. Now, early on, my resets never held, never really worked, but that's the idea. You can get those resets, and then every school year is a new reset. I mean, it's a totally new reset. You got new students, you got maybe even a new class or maybe a new subject, but it's a total new reset. And so the great thing about being a teacher is if you're good at learning from your mistakes, if you're good at learning what works and doesn't work, it has a natural progression where each year you can build upon the previous years with a fresh start. And a lot of jobs, you don't get that fresh start. With your baggage follows you forward. And so that's a great thing about teaching. So coming back this second semester, actually quite excited about it, is because I've put the doing this 20 something years, right? I already put the time and the effort in. I know what works and doesn't work. So come back next semester, get rested, so that way I can finish off the year strong. And so, being that I'm a eighth grade history teacher here in Southern California, the topics coming up this year are, man, there's some really good stuff. I mean, for us, eighth grade, once again, California. Learn about slavery for sure. We're going to learn about the War of 1812, Thomas Jefferson, Lewis and Clark, the Civil War, everything between, Reconstruction. And so there's some great topics there. And what's really great about these topics, and what I really try to do in my class, is I try to combine them with what is currently going on in the world. And you definitely see a lot of comparisons. I mean, I always compare Andrew Jackson to Donald Trump. That's a great comparison. You have other things to compare. You got the Civil War. You see, the issues going on with America. So these are great things to connect together, and hopefully it gives my students a new insight. Now I see some things posted here. Unfortunately, I'm driving, so I can't read it because I got my glasses on. So I apologize. I'm not responding to your comments. Um, just can't see them while I'm driving. That's funny thing about it is, my kids make fun of me for this. Is I actually got laser surgery. I don't know how many 70 years ago. I've always had bad vision, and I could see up close, but I couldn't see far. What is that called? Nearsighted. So I've always been nearsighted. Hey, let me see. I'm at a stoplight here. I'll finish the story after that. Let's see what we got here. Andy, how you doing, Andy? All right. So with that said, I always was able to see close but not far, and so I finally get this surgery, and man, I'm all jazzed about the surgery, and it was incredible. It was probably one of the best things I've ever did. I mean, for 40 something years of my life, I could not see at all. I couldn't see at all. Well, I was really bad eyesight, and then I finally get the surgery, and now I'm able to see distance. But because of my age and everything else, I cannot read close, and now I need reading glasses. So even after surgery, I still need glasses, but I definitely prefer it this way where I can see into the distance. So sorry I can't read your comments there for that reason, but I appreciate you being here with me. And so what I'm hoping to do is why am I starting to do these lives? Let me kind of give you the big picture here. New year, right? It's a new year resolutions. And the one guy that I really like listening to speak, and his name is Jesse Itzler. Hopefully I'm saying that correct. Jesse Itzler. And he created companies like Marquis Jet and some coconut water and some everything. And so, he's definitely proven himself in the business world. But what I like about him, besides the business world, he's also focused on his personal life as well. I mean, he's always running marathons, ultrathons, and everything, and has a great family. And so I like the fact that he has kind of a more well-rounded approach to things. But Jesse Itzler created something called the Big Calendar. There's another word in there, but won't say that right now. But a big calendar, and he has the whole year on this calendar. And so it's kind of a year at a glance, and he puts it on his wall, and I bought one myself. Now, I didn't buy his calendar, fortunately, because it's a little more expensive, so I had to go to Amazon and buy something cheaper, but you get the idea. It's a calendar that covers the wall, and it has the whole year at a glance on it. And so this calendar, the purpose of the calendar is to be purposeful planning your life. Because how many times has a year gone by and you look back upon it and you're like, what did I do with my year? I let other things get in the way, and I did not live my best life. We are only given so many years in this world, and so trying to get the best from it, the most from it, is so important, and you have to be intentional about that. I love the word intentional. I'm sure I'll come back to that, but being intentional about life in general and your life specifically. And so his approach to this is he has three things he kind of looks at. One is, I think he calls it mosagi. It's a Japanese word. I forget the exact term, but it's like one yearly goal, a goal for the year that just stretches you, a goal that just really pushes your limits, a goal that's not easy, but something that will really transform life. And the idea is that this goal, whatever it is, if you look back upon a year and all you did is achieve that goal, it'd be a good year, right? And so he has one of these goals every year. Then he has intentionally created like a small little adventure every couple of months. So every couple of months is a small adventure, trying to get the most out of life. And then from there, you got your daily habits. And that's a whole other subject, habits. Atomic Habits, by the way. If you've ever read Atomic Habits, highly recommend that. But then Atomic Habits, or habits in general, is the day-to-day thing that keep you moving in the right direction, reaching those goals, or just trying to live a better life. And so the idea is this, that at the end, think about it, end of 10 years, if you follow this approach, at the end of 10 years, you would have 10 life-changing transformation goals in your life. At the end of 10 years, if you had, let's say a purposeful adventure every 3 months, you would have 40 adventures you wouldn't normally have. And then if you have these habits created, you try to try to do one new habit every quarter, right? And so then at the end of, let's say, 10 years, you would have 40 intentional habits that are moving you forward. And so using this approach, I try to plan out my year. And so I have this calendar. And so my big goal this year is to, I have a lot of goals, but my main goal this year is to grow my YouTube channel. That's my main goal this year, is to grow the YouTube channel. And I started this, by the way, how I started this YouTube, let me kind of taking a side note here. How I started this YouTube channel, it's mainly for teachers, is several years ago. I was, I don't know, 4 years ago, 5 years ago. I was standing in the back of the classroom with a co-teacher. His name is Mr. Enriquez. Great guy, by the way, Mr. Enriquez. And we're in the back of the classroom, and this is actually the year after COVID. So we all came back, and I gotta be honest, that was actually probably one of my best years ever. My favorite years ever was the year after COVID. So year after COVID, in the back of the room with Enriquez, and students are working, and he kind of leans over to me and he goes, what are you doing here? I go, what do you mean? He goes, this classroom is just different. I mean, these students in other classrooms are causing all sorts of chaos, but in here they're actually involved and they're actually working. What are you doing differently? And I go, well, I don't know. Because, man, you got to let teachers know about this. You could, let people know what you're doing. It might be helpful. And so he said that. And then that was it. But then for the next week or two, his words just kind of just rang through my head. I'm going throughout the day, ringing through my head. What exactly do I do in my classroom? Because when you've been doing something so long, it kind of becomes second nature, autopilot, maybe if you want to call it. And so I was, probably year 18 at this point, 17 at this point. And I pretty much had it on lock, what I was doing, and things were running well. But I never really took a step back to think, what was I doing? What was I doing differently? What were the things that were working, not working? I would just kind of go through the motions, and things were working for a while, so I would just kind of go and rinse and repeat. And so I started thinking, and the more I started diving into it, I said, you know what? Maybe it might be helpful if I shared with other teachers what I'm doing. And now I've been doing coaching for a while now, definitely with the district and outside the district. I've been doing some coaching here and there. And by the way, if you ever need any kind of assistance, please reach out to me. I feel this is truly where I'm supposed to be in life right now, is helping other teachers because of the struggles I had in the past. And so if there's anything at all I can do, please do not hesitate. Send me an email. We can start corresponding. We can figure something out. I just want to be a service to others. So with all that said, I started creating these YouTube videos. Now that was a stretch. Oh my gosh, that was a stretch for me because by nature, I'm very introverted by nature. And so to actually put myself out there on video, to try to learn how to edit videos, to post videos, try to learn out there, all those things, it was a huge stretch, but I thought it's where I felt led to be. And so I started posting those videos. And then as I started posting those videos, it's a slow process. It is a grind. And unless you actually do YouTube or any kind of social media, you know what kind of grind it is. It's a lot of work. And so there's a whole learning curve there. But then slowly I started getting some feedback from other teachers about things that were saying and how they were helpful. And that just kept me going because that was the motivation I needed to know that actually that I was being helpful, I was providing a service, that there were things that I can share with other teachers. And then as I started creating these videos, and I really had to start thinking to myself, what do I do in the classroom? That became a introspective thing. I was talking with my dean about this. I think I'm a principal or dean about this, is that when I created these videos, it forces you to actually really think to yourself, what am I doing? How do I do? Let me see real fast. There's any things. All right. And so I became very introspective. So the past 3, 4 years has been a journey for me, trying to break down what I do in my class. I'm trying to think to myself, how can what I do help other teachers? And how do you transfer? How do you convey the information to people? You know, as a teacher, you have information that you should try to share with your students. But how do you break it down to its simplest form so it's easy for them to understand? And so that's what I was trying to do. For example, classroom management. You always hear build relationships, classroom management, group work. Okay, that sounds great, but how do you actually do what? What are the nuts and bolts of it? How do you break it down to the very basic concept so that you can be successful? And that is what this YouTube channel has forced me to do, to really take these concepts and break them down to be hopefully helpful to the teachers that need that little extra encouragement, that little extra thing to keep going. So back to those goals. Number one goal, the big goal, is to grow this YouTube channel. And so that's my number. So if you're able to help me in any which way with that, I so greatly appreciate it. Help me maybe by watching the videos. First of all, it's great to know people actually watch the videos because you put a lot of effort into them and you're just hoping that somebody gets something from it. So watching the videos would be a great thing. Forwarding the information to somebody else, forwarding the videos, sharing the channel, anything like that would be a greatly appreciated. So that's my Wasagi. That's my big goal for the year. And then, and I put that on my calendar, right? Put that on my big calendar of the goal at the end of the year. And then the next thing is a small adventure about every 3 months, I'm gonna say, call it. And for me, being that I'm married and I have the most incredible wife in the whole entire world, that's a whole video onto itself, how incredible she is. But I purposely wanted to set time aside for me and her to go our little adventures. Now, my kids, I have 3 kids, 22, 20, and 17. And so now that they're finally at an age where they can take care of themselves, man, years, me and the wife are finally able to get away by ourselves. And so we have actually purposely put things on the calendar, dates marked when we want to have a little getaway, just so a 1 night, 2 night getaway. And so we have 3 of those already on the calendar, dates picked out. The next one that we're going to do is going to be here during President's Week, I think, if ever, President's Week, is we're going to be going to the beach. And so we've got a nice little hotel on the beach. Just spend a day on the beach. That we're not necessarily beach people, but we do like the idea of bicycling on the beach, so we'll do that. And so that's, and it's, man, it's amazing. I always heard, it is so true, probably the best bang for your buck, if you're going to spend money, probably the best thing you can spend money on are experiences. Because you don't just, for example, if I buy a TV, $1,000 for a TV, I get that TV, and think about those endorphins that go along with buying something. It's exciting at first. You got the TV, but those endorphins wear off in about, 1, 2, 3 days? And you're like, it's a TV here. But if you pay for a trip, or you're going on a trip, first of all, you have the endorphins, the planning of the trip. That itself gives you all good feelings on planning the trip. And so if I have a trip that's 3 months out, and I start planning it now, I am basically have 3 months of excitement building up to the trip. And then we actually have the trip itself. And so that is the excitement there. And then when you return, you have the excitement of sharing your trip with others. So for the same amount of money, you have a full, couple months of good feelings that come from it. And so spending money on experiences is probably one of the best things, what I've heard. And I can definitely agree to that, because that's one of the things I have most joy in, is these little experiences. So the wife and I have 3 experiences planned, 3 dates planned for this upcoming year, trying to be intentional, purposeful. All right, so we got 3 things planned. And then in addition to that, we have one big family vacation. We have a timeshare in Vegas. And this timeshare in Vegas, it's at Tahiti Village. And we love Tahiti Village because it's on the Strip. But if you even know anything about Las Vegas, you got the Strip, and you got the busy part of the Strip. But it's a little south of the Strip. On the Strip, it's south. And so it's not quite as congested. It's a little more private, I guess we call it, but it's definitely family oriented. And so you don't have the smoking in there, you don't have the machines in there, and so it's a nice little getaway. And so we have a timeshare at Tahiti Village, and we go usually once a year. And so that's one thing we plan. And we're hoping this year that our friends can come along, and they have a whole family themselves. And because it's something, because we've been there quite a few times, and the total excitement of Vegas is kind of wearing off a little bit. But when you bring someone new to enjoy the experiences, that same experience you had before, you get to relive it again. And so we're hoping they come along so we can relive some of the experiences, the things that we've done in the past that we thought were incredible and we love to share with others if they were able to come. One is my wife and myself. We went on a trip there by ourselves one time, and we went to the Sphere and we watched Wizard of Oz. That was mind-blowing. That was incredible. If you ever go in there and you got to watch something you like, Wizard of Oz, the Sphere, Wizard of Oz. And so we saw that, and that was an incredible thing. So, but when we go back this summer, the plan is the wife will take our two daughters to go to the Sphere to watch that, and I'm sure they will have a great time. So that's one thing we'd want to do when we go back there. Another adventure that we did as a family, and if our family friends come along, it'd be great to go along with them, is called, what is it called now? It's at the Link, and it's this big Ferris wheel, I guess you would call it, or big wheel and so you basically, it goes real slow. It's not quite a Ferris wheel, you're in like a room, but it basically goes real slow up in the air, and you can see the whole entire strip from there. So that's kind of a cool experience. They also have a pin. Oh, this is great. If you're old like I am, this is great. They have something called the Pinball Museum. And the great thing about this is that it's the pinballs you grew up with. Now, my two favorite pinball games that I remember growing up with, because I used to work at a pizza place a long time ago when I was, in my young 20s and the teens. I used to work at a pizza place, and I remember we basically would close up, close whatever time we close at. We clean up, and then me and the manager and me and the other employees, we stay behind and we play pinball for I don't know how many hours. And so the two pinball games that I played over and over and over again were Addams Family and Jurassic Park. And it was just kind of a great way to spend some time unwinding. And so when we went to this pinball museum, they had those two games there, and it was like take me back 30 years to the moment when I was playing these games and I was much younger. And the games cost the same as they did back then, 75 cents. And so Pinball Museum, that's actually a cheap way to go too. It's a really cool thing. So we'd want to go back to that. We went to the Mob Museum. That was very interesting. Historical, I'm a history guy, so historically that was really cool. The Mob Museum, and so we went there. There's these, I forgot the name of it, Ethel Chocolate Factory. That was another cool experience we went to. We also done all the free shows that you can get. They have I think it's at the forums where they have the statues that come to life, and so we done that. There's the pirate show, we seen that free stuff. All those things. Not necessarily my favorite thing to do next, but we went there is the aquarium at Mandalay Bay. That's also a good place to go to. So that was another thing we did. But probably one of the things that really stood out for me that I would love to go again, and it's so hard to describe what exactly it is. It's called Omega Mart. It is for me, one of the most interesting places I've ever been. The Omega Mart is weird. It looks like at first it looks like a store, right? But one has these secret passes. You go there and you go into like a whole other rooms and worlds. And it's really strange, but very artistic, very cool. And just a fun place to lose yourself in for a good hour or two. So Omega Mart would be another thing I would love to take our friends to. But so that's our big trip we got planned for the summer is Las Vegas. So once again, big goal for the year is grow the YouTube channel. Some of the smaller adventures we got planned are 3 dates me and the wife are going on, and then our family vacation. And then the third thing Jesse Isler talks about is daily habits. Now, the idea, he says, if you can get a new habit every quarter, create a new habit every quarter, then, at the end of the year, you got 4 powerful habits, and in 10 years, you got 40. You get the idea. It builds upon each other. And so for me, I wanted to create some habits, some goals, some habits. And now I have some other goals in mind, everything else. But I wanted to choose some habits that are tangible, that are easy for me to achieve or even stick with. Just like your classroom, you got to be consistent. You got to find something you can do long term consistently. And so here are the habits I want to incorporate into my year. First one is stretching. I just want to stretch more. Being that I'm an older guy, I find myself that if I don't stretch, parts of my body start to ache. Mainly my back starts to ache. And so the first goal I have for the first couple of months is to just get in a habit of stretching and to really build upon that. So that's the first thing. Then the next habit I have, which will be like 3 months from now, which I want to start incorporating into my routines, is to do some push-ups. I just want to kind of start building some of that muscle back again. So doing push-ups, that'd be like the next thing. A lot of it's I realize for my personal goals, a lot of it has to do with physical stuff. So stretching first and then push-ups. And so now we're about a year, about 6 months into the year now. And the next goal I want to start weaving in is to really start counting my calories. Now I have a long-term goal for this year to lose weight. I have a goal to get into a certain shape. My wife always says, I have a goal to get in shape by the end of the year, besides round, right? And so my goal is to lose weight and to get in shape and build some strength and everything else by the end of the year. And so these are all little things to get me there. But the next part of that, of course, would be start really counting my calories, really being on top of it and paying attention to exactly what I mean. I'll probably be doing that all along, but I want to make it an official goal as my third initial habit I really want to get into. And then the last habit I really want to get into to kind of finish off the year is to cut back on my soda intake. I definitely drink a lot of soda. Now I'm doing good, and I switched to diet soda, but I still drink way more soda than I should. And so probably 9 months into this year, that'll be the final little habit I'm going to try to switch. And so hopefully by doing all of those things, hopefully by the end of the year, I'm actually doing much better health-wise. So that is the idea. So that is my plan for this year. Looking forward to this semester, finishing off this semester strong. I hope your Tuesday is going to be a blessed Tuesday. And as always, if there's anything I can do for you at all, feel free to reach out. I'm more than happy to help. With that said, have a wonderful, wonderful day.